You're listening to the Patenting for Inventors podcast with registered patent attorney, Dr. Adam Diamond, founder of Diamond Patent Law, the #1 source for securing your intellectual property needs. Now, here's your host, Adam Diamond.
Hello and welcome to the Patenting for Inventors podcast, episode 4, Patent Searches and How to Find Similar Inventions. My name is Dr. Adam Diamond, founder and owner of Diamond Patent Law in Los Angeles, California. And if you have any questions about patents or intellectual property in general, I can be contacted at patentingforinventors.com. That's patenting, F-O-R, inventors.com. This episode is going to be about how to do a patent search to determine whether or not there are similar inventions that will prevent you from getting your own patent. Now, I have to give a huge disclaimer first. There's an entire industry related to patent searching. There are people whose entire career is patent searching. Even a lot of patent attorneys don't do complicated patent searches on their own and hire specialized patent search firms. Most of the episodes in this podcast series are just going to be between 5 and 10 minutes long, and I can't do justice to any topic, and especially patent searching in this amount of time, and this episode is even going to be a little bit longer than most of the other ones. Now, why do you want to do a patent search? The main reason is cost. There's actually no legal requirements for you to do a patent search before you file a patent application. But the whole process of patenting your invention can be in the tens of thousands of dollars, and if you're interested in getting patents across the world, it could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you could just spend a little bit of time and energy and a few $1,000s to hire someone to do a patent search for you, then you can cut your losses early if you find out that your invention already exists or there's something really close to it already. In the last episode, I talked a little bit about prior art, which is a term used in patent law for anything publicly known before you made your invention. So a patent search is just one part of a prior art search because patents are just one kind of prior art. Prior art can also be catalogs or websites or anything else that was known at the time of the invention. So to start your prior art search, you might just want to go to Google and start trying to find out if your invention has been done. In my example from the last episode where I talked about a pencil with 3 erasers, just type in pencil with 3 erasers. And for me, nothing popped up that I saw on the regular Google search. But you don't just want to stop at a general Google search because there's a good chance you'll miss a lot of stuff. In this episode, I'm only going to be going through searching patent databases because in whatever field you're in, you probably know the other places to search better. If you're in the toy business, you probably know how to search toy catalogs. If you're in the tool business, you might have a new tool and you probably already know how to search tool catalogs. So I'm just going to be going through the patent database searches here. There are 3 websites that I like that offer free patent searching. One is the United States Patent and Trademark Office. The website is www.uspto.gov. Another is Google Patent Search at patents.google.com. And the last one that I use a lot is called freepatentsonline.com. Now, none of these are perfect, and I find the United States Patent and Trademark Office website not to be that user-friendly. And it also only searches patents and patent applications from the United States. So for free databases that can search worldwide patents, I use Google Patent Search and Free Patents Online pretty regularly. If you combine Google Patent Search and Free Patents Online, you're going to get patent results from China, Europe, the US, the International Patent Office, Germany, and a few other countries in your search. Most people who have filed a patent application probably would have applied in one of these countries, so you cover most of your bases if you use them. Now, it's always possible that someone filed their patent application only in Egypt and nowhere else, and you won't pull that up if you only use Google or Free Patents Online. So a patent search is never going to be 100% perfect at finding everything that might be relevant, but it might be a good enough start so that you can make an educated decision on whether to go forward with your patent application. If you are really interested in a more thorough patent search, then you'll have to hire some outside firm that has access to the databases in hundreds of countries throughout the world. So how do you do a patent search? I'm going to do a simple example that everyone can follow along, and the example I'm going to use is one of my favorite kitchen gadgets. It's a 3-in-1 avocado splitter, pitter, and slicer. There are lots of them, and the one I have is called the OXO Good Grips 3-in-1 slicer. You can get it on Amazon for $10. I don't get a commission for this. I'm not a paid sponsor. I just love this gadget that I have. You should check it out on Amazon so you can see the features I'm talking about when I'm explaining the search that I do. So we're going to pretend that I'm the original inventor of this device, so it's not already being sold on Amazon, and I'm going to do a patent search to see if maybe I could get a patent on it. There are lots of ways to do patent searches, but I'm going to start with a really simple and basic way, which is just typing in a couple words about the invention into the Google patent search bar. So I typed in avocado slicer, and my search came up with 234 results. Now, when you get these results, you can sort by date, select only issued patents, pick which patent office you want to see the results from, and a lot of other things. On the left side, you can see one image from each of the patents, so you can get a rough idea of what the avocado slicer looks like in that patent. So I'm scrolling down, and I don't really see anything that's the same as my concept, which has a splitting single blade at one end, a pitter in the middle, and a slicer that has a bunch of blades inside of a loop. That's just on the first page of the Google results. And at the bottom, I click to go to page 2 of the search results, and I actually see a patent called avocado pitting device. And it's the exact device that I see on Amazon. I can see that they got a patent for this, and the patent application was filed August 23rd, 2011. So I'm going to pretend with this patent search example that it's August 23rd, 2011, and not really take into consideration anything that came afterwards, because those things aren't relevant to whether my invention would have been new or non-obvious, because they didn't exist. Now let's say you don't want to go through and read 234 patents. You can start adding additional words to your search bar to narrow it. So I put in avocado slicer pitter instead of just avocado slicer. So only patents and patent applications that have those 3 words now show up. And if you do that, there are 71 results that I see. Now sometimes these words may show up in a patent and have nothing to do with the invention. There could just be an avocado slicer that doesn't have a pitter, but it describes avocados, and it might happen to mention in the description that if you want to take the pit out, you need to buy a separate pitter device. You really have to click on the link to read the patent and look at the drawings to see how close your invention is to the one that was described in the search results. The first step is to try to find the patent application that is most similar to your invention. This can take a while to do, and I read through a bunch of these already. One that has a lot of the same features is the first one that popped up in the search, which is called avocado pitter / slicer. It's patent number 7421786 if you just want to put that in the search bar. And you can see that this has a handle and blades inside of a loop. I don't see a slicing blade, and the thing that takes the pit out doesn't have blades that poke into the pit to pull it out. The pitter in this device looks just like a smaller loop that is able to scoop out the pit instead of jabbing it. There's another patent that has slicing blades to split the avocado, and that's patent number 5115565, but it doesn't have the same kind of pitter as this invention. I looked through these, and nothing really struck me as being that close to the OXO splitter, pitter, and slicer. And considering that this invention got patented, the inventors were able to convince the examiner that this invention was new and non-obvious. Now you have to be careful about your patent search. You can't just assume that your invention doesn't exist because you put in the search bar what your invention is. Maybe your invention doesn't exist for avocados, but something extremely similar worked with removing peach pits. Or there was a separate device that was able to take the pit out of an avocado, but it wasn't combined with a slicer and splitter. The examiner might take that totally separate pitting device and say it would have been obvious to combine that pitting device into a splitter and slicer to make the 3-in-1 device instead of just a 2-in-1 device. There are all kinds of things that you have to be careful about when you do your search. What I just described was a very simple keyword search, and there are all sorts of ways to do specific kinds of keyword searches that narrow or broaden the results. There are just too many ways to describe how to do keyword searches in this introduction to patent searching, but at least you have the key concepts down. There's another way to do a search called the classification search, which can be used to narrow down relevant patents. The Patent Office gives every invention a classification number. You can find the classification manual by going on Google and searching for Manual of U.S. Patent Classifications. And in our example, there's a classification for food and beverage apparatus, which is class 99. And this is really broad. So the Patent Office gives devices subclassifications. And there's a subclassification for food and beverage apparatus that separates one internal portion from another, which is what our device does, and this is class 99, subclass 538. But you also have to be careful about figuring out what class your device is in, because it could be listed in class 99 for food and beverage apparatus, but there's also class 30, which is the classification for cutlery. The patent classifier might put this avocado slicer in class 30, so you probably want to search multiple classes that your invention could fit into. You can get a list of all patents in a certain class and subclass, and then you could use a keyword search to narrow it down even more. But sometimes you can get so detailed in your search that you start excluding things that are still relevant, because maybe you use the word slicer, but the patent application uses the word cutter instead of slicer, and you might miss that patent if you don't start putting in synonyms. But if you're too broad, then you're going to have to sift through thousands of patent applications, which is just too difficult to do. So there's really an art and a science to patent searching. The last thing I'm going to suggest that you do is what's called backwards and forward searching the relevant patents. When you do a Google patent search and click on one of the patents, scroll to the bottom of that patent and you'll see a heading called Patent Citations. And these are references that the inventor thought were similar enough to his or her patent that the inventor legally had to disclose them to the patent office. Since the inventor thought that these patents were similar enough, the same patents might also be similar to your invention, so it's worth taking a look at those citations. And this is called a backward citation search. After you do that, take a look again at the bottom of the patent, and you'll see a heading that says Referenced By. And these are patent applications that came after the patent you're looking at. These later applications reference this patent because the inventor thought that this patent was relevant to their own invention. So you should take a look at these too, because these will be more recent patent applications that could be related to your invention. This type of search is called a forward citation search. So to sum up, the three ways that I like to do my patent searches are keyword searches, classification searches, and forward and backward citation searches. Now, I barely scratched the surface on how to do a proper patent search, but at least it's a starting point on how you can do a very basic one. And if you find something nearly identical to your invention, you can cut your losses and not go forward with your application. If you'd like a professional patent search and patentability opinion, I do offer those services through my practice at Diamond Patent Law. One thing that's very important to know is that the type of patent search I described is to determine the likelihood that you will receive a patent on your invention. This type of search is not for figuring out if you're infringing someone else's patent, where you'd have to do a non-infringement search and a freedom to operate opinion. You see, you can actually get a patent on your new device, but at the same time be infringing someone else's patent and get sued, even though you have your own patent. Now, I'll go over non-infringement searches in a later episode after I talk about the claims of an invention. In the next episode, I'm going to assume that you have decided you want to pursue your application, and now you need to figure out who you should and shouldn't tell, and also the deadlines for your patent application if you've already spilled the beans on your great idea. I'm Adam Diamond of Diamond Patent Law, and until next time, keep on inventing.
Thanks for listening to the Patenting for Inventors podcast with host Adam Diamond. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review on iTunes. The contents of this podcast are intended for general informational purposes only. The facts of every legal matter are unique, and the content of this podcast should not be construed as offering legal advice for your specific legal situation. For more information and help with your own intellectual property needs, contact Adam Diamond at patentingforinventors.com. That's patentingforinventors.com. Or call Diamond Patent Law at 424-281-0162. The preceding information may be considered an attorney advertisement and does not establish any attorney-client relationship.